Hey Takashi, why did you tell on your gang?
Let me see, the kidnapping, the money that was being stolen from promoters, my baby moms. People gonna be like, skip that part too. He's talking facts. Skip that.
6ix9ine thought his biggest problems were online, but the real threat was standing right next to him. Money missing, deals changing, loyalty cracking from the inside, and when he finally caught his own homie crossing the line, everything exploded. And trust me, what he did next might change everything you thought you knew about their relationship. Broken trust. From the outside, everything about 6ix9ine's rise looked like a perfectly engineered success story. A young kid from Brooklyn with rainbow hair, extreme confidence, and a new sound was suddenly taking over the entire rap world. Every week there was a new viral clip, a new song charting, a new city getting shut down, and a new headline with his name in it.
Somebody in that circle with my same gang gave me up. The Fed said, yo, we just intercepted a wiretap and we know that Shotty and Sarah are fucking. You know when my heart fell?
But while the world was busy watching the chaos and colors he brought to the industry, the real chaos was happening behind the scenes, away from cameras, away from fans, and inside the circle that was supposed to protect him. And the person standing closest to him in that circle was Shotty. In the early days, Shotty wasn't just a manager. He was the force behind the operation, the one who moved with him everywhere, made security decisions, protected him in situations that could have gone wrong, and handled all the street-level dynamics that came with 6ix9ine's sudden fame. They moved like brothers, ate together, traveled together, made decisions together. That was the image everyone saw. That was the bond everyone believed was unbreakable. But the thing about fast money, fast fame, and fast pressure is that it exposes every weak spot in a team. And sometimes those weak spots are the people closest to you. As the numbers went up, 6ix9ine slowly started noticing things that didn't fit. Payments for shows looked off. Promoters would mention one amount, but he'd receive another. Bookings were made without telling him. Extra people were on payroll who he didn't even know. And every time he tried asking simple questions, the answers came back vague, confusing, or brushed off like he didn't need to understand how the business worked. That was the first red flag, when the artist generating the money is treated like a passenger in his own career. The problem was that 6ix9ine truly trusted Shotty. He believed everything he told him. If Shotty said a number was correct, he believed it. If Shotty said a deal was complicated, he accepted it. If Shotty said something needed to be done a certain way, he followed along. That trust is what made the betrayal sting so deeply later, because it wasn't outsider interference, it was an inside decision.
Because who's not a rat? You know that is not glorified in society on social media. You have the rat from Atlanta, Woody, known rat. Tekashi 6ix9ine, known rat, right? These guys have motion in the industry, but they're known rats.
But every empire hides cracks. And behind the scenes of 6ix9ine's entire operation, the cracks weren't small, they were massive. Money was being moved in unusual ways. Thousands were disappearing without explanation. Side deals were being attached to his name, and every trail he followed ended in one direction, right back to his own team, right back to the person he trusted most. And once that trust started breaking, nothing would ever be the same. Secret moves. Once 6ix9ine began noticing inconsistencies, the picture became clearer and darker. It wasn't just small errors or misunderstandings anymore. Every financial discrepancy, every hidden conversation, every unexplained move painted a single, undeniable truth. Someone in his inner circle was playing a game behind his back, and that someone was Shotty. The man who had once been his protector, his right hand, and the face of loyalty was suddenly orchestrating moves without his knowledge.
You go sign away your life for a bunch of to fuck your girl. The first rule have always been self-preservation. The second rule have always been there's no honor amongst thieves. He the prime example. They fucked over that could fed everybody.
We only look at snitches and we only look at rats when people go to jail. You know what define me a rat?
At first, 6ix9ine tried to rationalize it. Fame moves fast, he told himself. Things get messy, contracts get confusing. Money moves in ways even seasoned artists don't always understand. But the signs kept piling up. Show payments were lower than promised. Promotional deals that had been locked and discussed didn't go through. People he trusted began receiving perks and payments he had no knowledge of. Even small amounts were missing, but over time, those small amounts added up to massive sums. Sums that could no longer be explained away as error. Shotty's influence had grown quietly, but powerfully. He knew promoters, venue owners, and street contacts that gave him leverage beyond 6ix9ine's own control. If he wanted to redirect a show's revenue, he could. If he wanted to secure side deals, he could. And because the trust was there, no one questioned it. What had started as a tight-knit team now operated like a small private enterprise, and the artist himself was being kept in the dark.
That video, was that where you met Shotty?
Yeah.
And how did you and Shotty start to become close after that?
Well, I think after he saw the success to the video, don't get me wrong, I chilled with Shotty after that, before he seen the success. But Shotty didn't have a crib. Shotty was sleeping on the rug. Like Shotty was sleeping.
From that moment on, 6ix9ine began observing every move. Studio sessions, trips, phone calls, nothing escaped his attention. He noticed patterns, connections, and meetings that never included him, even though he was the centerpiece of the entire operation. It became clear that his role was no longer central in the business running around him. He was generating the brand, the music, and the hype, but Shotty was controlling the flow of cash and decisions. And once he saw that, 6ix9ine knew it was time to confront the situation, quietly at first, then publicly. He realized that loyalty had been replaced by opportunism, and when money, fame, and power collide in the wrong hands, even family can turn into an enemy. Full exposure. When 6ix9ine finally realized the scale of the betrayal, he knew that private conversations and subtle confrontations weren't enough anymore. The cracks in the team were too wide, the deceit too obvious, and the stakes too high. What started as mistrust had grown into undeniable proof. Financial statements, receipts, and wire transfers all pointed to one fact. The team he relied on, and especially Shotty, had been siphoning money, making deals behind his back, and essentially controlling the business he had built with his own talent.
Shotty got 15 years of jail. He's not looking for no... I will sit down and be like, yo, bro, like, you know what you did, like, you know what I mean?
And if he says what he told me, he gonna say the same thing to you. I never fucked your bitch, you just needed a reason to tell on me.
Alright, so the wiretaps are fake?
But he gonna say people never heard that. We never heard, yo, I ain't gonna lie to you.
The first step 6ix9ine took was confronting those closest to him. At first, it was private. Questions were asked, stories were checked, numbers were compared. He needed explanations, and at first, the team tried to brush it off. They claimed it was miscommunication. They claimed it was technicalities. They claimed nothing was intentional. But the evidence was too glaring. Every document, every account, every intercepted conversation painted the same picture. The betrayal wasn't small. It wasn't accidental. It was intentional. Once he realized this, 6ix9ine made the decision to remove the people he once trusted. The fallout was immediate. Arguments turned into shouting matches. Meetings that were once collaborative became confrontational. The energy around him shifted. Where there had been loyalty, there was now tension. Where there had been respect, there was now suspicion. And the closer someone had been to him, the more intense the confrontation became. The public eventually learned about it when 6ix9ine went on interviews and started explaining that the team around him wasn't just failing at management, they were actively stealing from him. He named names, laid out facts, and made it clear that this wasn't small-time mismanagement but a calculated betrayal by the very people he considered family. Fans were shocked. Media outlets ran headlines. The streets buzzed. And Shotty, the one at the center of it all, became the face of the scandal.
Tell him don't do that.
O block right here? I should call this shit no block. It's 10 o'clock. Where the fuck y'all niggas at? Niggas ain't outside. It's only 10 p.m. Where the fuck y'all niggas at, blood?
I did tell them not to go to Chicago. They did it anyway. They went out there and was there for about 3-4 minutes.
Out there chilling.
Because now we saw the surveillance video.
This full exposure changed the narrative of 6ix9ine's career. It wasn't just about music anymore. It was about loyalty, trust, and power. The public saw that the guy who looked untouchable, fearless, and viral online was dealing with real betrayal at the highest levels of his own team. They saw that behind the flashy colors and loud music, there were layers of strategy, deception, and manipulation, and that the consequences were very real. By the time the dust settled, the team that once appeared untouchable was dismantled, and the world understood the stakes. What started as a partnership built on trust had turned into a cautionary tale for artists, managers, and anyone involved in the high-stakes music business. And at the heart of it all, 6ix9ine had made one thing abundantly clear. Betrayal would not be tolerated, and exposure was inevitable. Before we go any further, what would you do if someone you trusted betrayed you? Hit the comments and let us know. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Explosive fallout. Once the betrayal was exposed, the situation escalated quickly. What had been behind-the-scenes tension transformed into a full-blown feud, and the energy around 6ix9ine and Shotty turned explosive. There was no longer room for quiet negotiations or subtle corrections. The trust that had once bonded them was completely shattered, replaced with anger, suspicion, and a growing desire for control. Every interaction became a power struggle, every decision a battlefield. The streets and the media immediately caught on. Rumors flew like wildfire, speculation spread faster than any of 6ix9ine's viral songs, and fans watched closely as the feud unfolded in real time. Social media became the courtroom, the stage, and the battleground. Tweets, posts, and videos from both sides painted a picture of chaos that seemed unstoppable. What had once been a partnership built on mutual loyalty now looked like a war zone, a dramatic unraveling of a team that had once seemed unbreakable.
Hold on, Vlad, slow it down, bro. That's why people hate me, because they don't want to understand it. So I cooperated on my friends. Let's talk facts, bro.
Meanwhile, Shotty's response added fuel to the fire. He refused to apologize, refused to step back, and refused to acknowledge the betrayal publicly. Instead, he carried himself with a confidence that only intensified the drama. For fans and insiders alike, it became clear that neither side was willing to back down. 6ix9ine was making the betrayal known to the world, and Shotty was presenting a defiant front, creating a tension that had everyone on edge. The impact extended beyond the personal feud. The fallout affected business deals, tour arrangements, and collaborations. Promoters, artists, and other managers watched closely, realizing that the inner workings of this team could no longer be trusted. The ripple effect was enormous. Once protected relationships were strained, longtime connections were reevaluated. And in an industry where perception is everything, the drama around 6ix9ine and Shotty became a lesson for anyone managing talent. Betrayal can happen at the highest levels, and when it does, there are no quiet exits. At the same time, legal pressures amplified the chaos. Authorities began examining the financial irregularities, contracts, and transactions tied to the fallout. Wire transfers, side deals, and booking agreements were scrutinized, creating another layer of public tension. The feud was no longer just emotional. It had legal consequences, putting both sides in the spotlight and forcing everyone to navigate a minefield of risk, strategy, and accountability. By the time the first round of confrontation settled, the feud had set the stage for years of tension, public commentary, and cautionary tales for artists and managers alike. Explosive, public, and unforgettable, this fallout not only reshaped 6ix9ine's career, but also left the world watching, learning, and questioning how far betrayal could reach when loyalty is broken at the top. Final snap. Weeks of tension and mistrust had pushed 6ix9ine to a breaking point. The betrayal, stolen money, and manipulations could no longer be ignored. This was no longer just frustration, it was clarity demanding action. 6ix9ine realized he needed to reclaim control over his career, finances, and reputation before the fallout became permanent. He gathered evidence, contracts, financial records, and screenshots to expose Shotty's manipulation and diversion of funds. Every piece confirmed what he had suspected. The person he trusted most had been exploiting him. What had started as a private betrayal had to become public to protect his future. Once the evidence was ready, 6ix9ine took decisive action. He exposed Shotty through interviews, social media, and strategic public statements. The world watched as the narrative shifted. Fans, media, and industry insiders saw the truth. The inner circle he trusted was fractured, and 6ix9ine was reclaiming authority over his career. The final snap was more than confrontation. It was a declaration of power. 6ix9ine proved that betrayal wouldn't go unpunished, that loyalty was demanded, and that no one, not even a manager, could manipulate him without consequence. His message was clear. Control is non-negotiable, and exposure is inevitable. This turning point reshaped not only his personal story, but also sent a warning to the industry. Trust must be earned, and deception comes with real-world consequences. Aftermath and legacy. After the public fallout, 6ix9ine emerged stronger, but the consequences of the betrayal lingered. The exposure of Shotty's deception reshaped relationships, careers, and reputations. Friends, collaborators, and industry figures realized that even the closest alliances could conceal manipulation. In an instant, trust became a fragile commodity, and the music industry witnessed firsthand the dangers of internal betrayal. 6ix9ine's response sent a clear message. Loyalty is priceless, and anyone attempting to exploit him would face public accountability. The drama became a lesson in transparency and power dynamics. Artists, managers, and promoters alike watched closely, understanding that fame and success bring scrutiny not only from the public but also from those inside one's circle. Despite the chaos, 6ix9ine regained control. He reclaimed decision-making power, financial authority, and the narrative surrounding his career. The incident reinforced his reputation as someone who could navigate chaos, confront betrayal, and survive high-stakes conflicts. Fans saw him as resilient, fearless, and unafraid to hold people accountable, even those closest to him.
Imagine being there and testifying on your friends. Now that would feel horrible, right? Because you have to look at your friend, but you're looking at somebody who kidnapped you.
Ultimately, the aftermath of this feud cemented a lasting legacy. It was a story of trust broken, deception exposed, and power reclaimed. 6ix9ine proved that no matter how viral or controversial his persona, real-world accountability could not be ignored. The feud with Shotti became a cautionary tale, a defining moment in his career, and a lesson for the entire music industry about loyalty, betrayal, and the cost of deception. That wraps up the inside look at 6ix9ine's feud with Shotti and the fallout that followed. Do you think he handled the betrayal the right way? Comment your thoughts, hit like, and subscribe for more behind-the-scenes music drama.